Bungie was back this week with their This Week at Bungie update, letting us know about a mid-season weapon tuning patch coming very soon. Plus we got Grandmaster Nightfalls coming back next week, so it's a great time to get that Conqueror title if you haven't got it yet. All that plus more too, so let's get to it. Well, if you're new around here, I find this useful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. And roughly 98% of viewers who watch This Week in Video Games aren't subscribed, so subscribe today and never miss an update. Well, first of all, we're going to talk about tuning weapons. So Chris Proctor was back this week and he spoke about the mid-season weapon tuning patch. Originally it was planned for Season 18, but they're bringing it forward a little bit, so that's really good. So Chris says, "G'day, Chris Proctor here. We spent a lot of playtest time in Season 18 and decided to bring some of the changes into an earlier release. We expect these changes to shift the PvP meta a little for the month or so before Season 18 launches, so we've got another set of changes coming then, smaller of course since we moved some of them to Solstice. But the TLDR, we got the buffs, so airborne effectiveness improved, baseline airborne accuracy and aim assist for all primary weapons, added a static airborne effectiveness buff to some existing perks, raised the base AE stat on several exotic weapons, and tuned some of the underperforming primary weapon subfamilies in PvP. Also increased the pellet shotgun damage in PvE, and increased the ammo per special brick for Glaives, Forerunner and Ariana's Vow in PvP, and linear fusion rifles no longer receive increased flinch in PvE, will still receive increased flinch in PvP. In terms of the nerfs, tuned down some overperforming exotics in PvP. Well, first of all then, let's go into some of the detail. We've got airborne effectiveness, that's AE, on primary weapons. So we were cautious about making weapons too easy to use while airborne at Season 17 launch, preferring to take some time to evaluate and then buff accordingly, rather than having to nerf. We've seen this play out in the game for several weeks now and are confident we can safely, significantly decrease the airborne accuracy and aim assist penalties on primary weapons. So reduced airborne penalties for all primary weapons. These changes are roughly equivalent to increasing the base A stat of primary weapons by about 15 low stat values. And then it reduced the airborne accuracy penalty at low AE by 20 to 40%, depending on the weapon type. So auto rifles, pulse rifles, scout rifles, submachine guns, that's 40%. Hand cannons and sidearms, 20%. Bows, 30%. So that's really good. And reduced the airborne aim assist penalties for the above weapon types and changed the stat scale to provide a more benefit to each point. And reduced the airborne auto aim, so that's bullet bending, M&K and controller, on that penalty by 20%. And reduced the airborne magnetism, that's reticle stickiness, controller only, and that is a penalty by 40%. And some perks now give a static AE stat buff in addition to their other effects. So air assault plus 10 AE at all times in addition to plus 60, and that's for 70 AE total when at low health. So extended mag, that'll give you plus 10 AE, steady rounds gives you plus 7 AE, and raise the base AE stat on several exotic weapons listed in the exotic section below, and I am going to go through that in a minute. Well, next up, let's have a look at the weapon archetype. So with hand cannons, precision 180 RPM hand cannons have languished for quite a while. We took some time to soften their time to kill in PvP. In playtesting, we find this makes them a lot more competitive, particularly with their innate plus 25 bonus to AE. So increase the body shot damage from 37 to 40, and crit moves from 57 to 60, can now kill in 2 crit and 2 body against Guardians, kills in 1.33 seconds in body shots. Well, next up we've got auto rifles, so precision 450 RPM auto rifles have fallen behind other AR subfamilies, partly because they were more reliant on hitting a higher proportion of crits to reach their optimal time to kill. So they've increased the body shot damage from 19 to 20, and the precision multiplier moves 1.6 to 1.5, crit damage stays the same at 30. Well, next up we've got scout rifles, so we don't want to change scout rifles to be too effective. We generally don't want long range weapons to be competing with short range weapons for ease of use or time to kill. There's some room to make scout rifles a little better in PvP, and also add some primary weapon competition to snipers at longer ranges, so we've adjusted 2 of these scout rifle subfamilies, precision and high impact. First of all, precision, that's the 180 RPM family, increased the body damage from 34 to 38 and crit moves 54.4 to 60.8, and can crit in 2 body against a 197 HP, that's health and shields or lower, and kills in 1.33 in body shots against 190 HP or lower, 1.67 against higher resiliences. Then we got the high impact, so that's 150 RPM, increase the body damage from 38.2 to 42, and crit moves from 66.9 to 73.5. And can 2 crit 1 body against 189 HP or lower, and kills 1.6 seconds in body shots. Well, next up we got shotguns. So pellet shotguns felt like they could use some love in PvE, and increase the pellet shotgun PvE damage bonus from 10 to 25%. Next up, linear fusion rifles. So the flinch increase on linear fusion rifle was fairly effective, but since it was global, it either hurt their usability in PvE. We made a change that applies increased flinch to damage coming only from the player instead. Well, next up we got Glaive. So when scavenger mods were disabled in PvP, Glaives were no longer able to get enough ammo for a kill from a single brick, and we've corrected that issue. So increase the ammo per special brick from 1 to 2 in PvP, and damage scalers and trace rifles, so Killing Tally, Agaceptor and Will Given Form, Ariana's Vow and Fighting Low were not functioning as expected, and the fix will restore that functionality for most weapons, but an update to Fighting Line will come later on, currently planned for Season 18 launch. Note that issue may have also affected other weapons or perks, so look out for any other bugs. Next up we got a load of changes to exotic weapons. This is really interesting. Lawrence Driver is still oppressive to play against, so we wanted to address this more thoroughly. So reduce the aim assist stat from 32 to 22, and reduce the suction against players, and remove the universal ×2 flinch nerf from the previous change, since we changed the flinch for all linear fusion rifles. That change also applies to Arbalest. Well, Gjallarhorn is much too dominant as a heavy weapon choice in PvP and Gambit, due to proximity detonation making it very easy to use, and Wolfpack rounds finishing guardings who should be far enough away to stay safe. So the primary rocket no longer has proximity detonation, and Wolfpack rounds now deal half the damage to players. And the last word has reached a usage level on controller where it warranted some adjustment. With this change it'll be a little harder to land crits while hip firing, and it'll be less deadly and extended range, so reduce the hip fire precision aim angle by 50%, and precision aim angle dictates how far off the head you can be aimed, and still have aim assist grant you a critical hit instead of a body shot, and reduce the damage and aim assist fall off distance by 3 meters. And then we got Forerunner, that was getting 3 ammo per special brick in PvP, technically enough for a kill. This was unforgiving, so we bumped it up a little, at the same time as getting full ammo from a single special brick in PvE, and that gave it an extremely high uptime. So increase ammo per special brick from 3 to 4 in PvP, and reduce ammo per special brick from max, that's about 16 in PvE. Well, Ariana's Vow is getting 1 ammo per special brick in PvP, not enough for a kill, so increase the ammo per special brick from 1 to 2 in PvP. We're also evaluating the airborne effectiveness stat on exotic weapons, keeping in mind they can't equip the Icarus Grip mod, and decided to bump up several to be more competitive. So Surus Regime from 23 to 31, Whisper of the Worm from 9 to 20, Monte Carlo from 21 to 29, and Forerunner from 22 to 27. So it looks like the Forerunner is getting a few little buffs there, so it could be good next season. Well, let me know in the comments what you think of the changes to the weapons, but next up we got Grandmasters, and they are coming back next week. So Grandmasters are bringing some of our most challenging PvE content back into the mix. Next week will be your chance to finish up your Conqueror title, and possibly guild it, and also earn some awesome loot. We wanted to remind you that if you get error coded out of a non-match made Nightfall at any level, you now rejoin after logging back in. While in this state you won't be able to change builds or equipment in the game, in the app, or on third-party websites, and good luck out there, Guardians. Well, let me know in the comments what you think of all the latest news, the weapon changes, and also Grandmaster Nightfalls coming back next week. Let me know in the comments what you think. Well, that is it for this Destiny 2 News Roundup. And as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you can check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you soon.